Welcome back. It is 1668. Since Family Echo is having some outages, I guess, we'll just go straight to the spreadsheet. So this year we have a few birthdays. We have Obadiah and Lydia becoming young adults, hopefully surviving and getting married. No 3, 9, or 20. Both good. Oldest Mahun is dying. I didn't even remember that she was still alive, to be honest with you. Gosh, she must be very old. And then Muriel Larkin has to roll for the rest of her life. 14. I knew she was going to live a long time. The evil always do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Muriel Larkin finally kicking the bucket. I love her. Okay, townies, 1668. Let's see. Delilah is becoming an adult. Okay, Delilah, no 2, 6, 11, or 15. She survives. Oops, that was wrong. That was not what I wanted to click. And then we have 2 teens, Thaddeus and Timothy. Oh, that's Hope's 2 children, so no 7 or 14 for either of those. Everybody survives this year. Good. Okay, and we are adding 2 teens, Thaddeus and Timothy. Nice. Lots of people. Oh wait, Sadie got married already. Obadiah and Lydia are going to get married. Ruth, Thaddeus, Timothy, Chenua. She's not married, but she's like with Nathaniel. Pullman, Caleb, Ken, okay, I think Melly's married. Amos is married. I have not been updating this well. That's my bad. Anyway, I have another spreadsheet of like who's going to marry who and everything because I'm trying to keep it like without having to add townies right now because of our too large population, but maybe something will happen soon that cuts down the population. We could have a lot of men dying soon. They have a 25% chance. And then we'll have measles, but it's only babies, toddlers, children, and pregnant Sims. The witch trials. But these are all things that are kind of far into the future, so nothing that'll cut down our population immediately. But that's okay, because we're doing pretty good. So I will now hop into the game. Okay, so we're going to start with Delilah. And Delilah, honestly, at this point, she is like so fed up with just being alone. Now Judith and Uncas are gone. Like she's like, you know what? Austin wanted me to move on and have a life and have a happy, family and all this stuff. And I'm just not doing that. And so that's a problem. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. And she is going to ask Josiah out on a date. And the reason for that is because, the two of them have really connected because of their shared experiences and about how, they both feel like outcasts and, they both, Delilah less so, obviously, but she has had some stuff in her life where she, has isolated herself and she really kind of sees people for what they are and, sees through the fake nice that a lot of people do and where they shun other people and everything, and so she is not interested in any of that. She is interested in having a real connection, and so even though it's a little weird, he's a bit older than her. I wouldn't say he's super older than her because remember he was a lot younger than Solomon also, but at the same time it's a weird combination, but it's kind of a combination that was brought about by their shared loss. So that is how the two of them have decided to go out on a date. We'll see where it goes. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out what I should have happen because Josiah is not supposed to get married. He's not supposed to get married and have kids. So I don't know yet what I'll have them do, but she's a regular adult now. She's not even a young adult, so she maybe she thinks she's past child rearing or anything like that. We'll see. We'll come back to them next year, but I did want to have them do this right now. So that is what's going on for them. We're just going to finish this date, and then we're going to head out. So we are going to go to see Chauvin, who Uncas and Judith have now come back permanently since he has reconciled with his father, and so they're all doing their best with this new situation where Chogan and Uncas still aren't really in a good position, and then also Uncas's only child with Judith has passed away, and they have not had any more children, and they were not planning on having any more children, and that was one of the big things that caused Chogan's divorce from Priscilla and everything. And so Salili is just basically acting the same way that she acted with her own son, but Chogan now he knows different, and he is trying really hard to get back into his son's life and everything. So when his mother starts talking badly to Judith, he's like, no. Like, you're not going to do that. We're not going to play this game. Like, you're going to have to let Uncas do whatever he wants, and that's going to be that, and he's like, stop fighting. Stop it. And he, tells his mother, like, you can't do this. You can't ruin his life the way that, you not ruined mine, because it feels awful to say that when he has a wife and children who he loves. And, Salili definitely pulls that out on him and is like, well, if you had stayed with Priscilla, you wouldn't have these children. And so it's a hard argument to win, but he's basically like, look, I'm not going to let you do what you did to me to my son. And I have let you kind of control my life, and I'm not going to perpetuate that. Meanwhile, Judith does feel some type of way about, them losing their child and then not being able to have another. And it's just something that, she is worried about, because she knows that legacy is so important to Uncas, especially since he really did want to come back and take his position as his father's son and everything. And so, that's something that's really important to him, and Judith knows that, but she is worried that, he would come to resent her, or that maybe he would feel the way his father felt. And like, even though they both tell each other like it's going to be fine and everything, like there's still that part of her that's like, okay, well, we came back here. We're in it now. I know Salili doesn't like me. Like, even if Weedamoo does, like, she just kind of is really trying hard to ignore that little voice inside of her that's like, maybe it will turn out the same way, even if he doesn't intend for it to. And then we do have the babies being born to Amos and Melly, and unfortunately both twins do not survive, and we were not planning on giving them another pregnancy, so that sucks. That sucks for them. So they are really doing their best. Unfortunately, it's not good enough. Anyway, so we are going to head over to the Anderson household, and Tom is basically going to come and talk to Cameron, because he's like, look, Cameron, now that Charity is a teenager and she's ready to start looking for a husband and everything, like, we need to have a talk, because after everything I went through with Sadie, like, I don't want you to go through that. I don't, you can't think the way that I thought previously. Like, I gave Sadie a lot of free reign, and unfortunately it was enough rope, what's the saying? I don't know if that's an appropriate saying, actually. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But, like, he gave Sadie a lot of freedom, and she ended up using it in a way that he did not approve of. So that was just something that he's trying to tell Cameron, like, hey, you want to keep an eye on your daughter. You want her to make the right decisions. You want to guide her in a way that I did not guide Sadie, and that I regret not guiding her in that way. She probably could have had a really good life with someone more suitable, but because of everything that happened, that didn't work out. And so you can't, you have to be stricter. You have to learn from my mistakes with Sadie. You have to have Charity really, pick someone nice for her. So that is what is going on. Sadie, of course, is not Sadie. Charity actually got a bad relationship with her mother, which I thought was really interesting. Maybe her mother is pressuring her. So then we are going to head over to the orphanage, and actually, you know what the thing is they're going to have a small talk about wanting where they want to live, because honestly, this is a terrible lot to actually live on for our main household. And so I was like, you know what? Bernard has moved and his house has been like sitting empty, and so I think that maybe it would be good for them to, you know, quote unquote buy it and move out there, because I really do, you know, I customized this house for us and we barely got to do anything with it. So I think that it'll be nice, and it'll also be nice for like Phineas. I think that we're gonna say like for reincarnation is like Phineas remembers some things but not everything, like you know how the game does like a, oh that's kind of familiar, or, oh for some reason I'm really good at this, but like um he doesn't necessarily have like really strong memories, probably because like you know being reborn as like a baby and stuff, and then your baby brain doesn't really work the way an adult brain works and everything. So we're gonna say that like it feels familiar and it feels good and it feels happy, but like also um he doesn't really know why. So that's what we're gonna say for him. Then we're gonna have the wedding. So the wedding. Uh-oh, my headphones are starting to die. Um, Let me get my charger. Okay, the wedding is what we're going to have next for Lydia and Obadiah. And they are going to come to the church and do this here. You know, the Hobart family is pretty well renowned, especially because they are such a big family, you know, so like everybody knows them, everybody's related to them because of how many children they've ended up having. And so um, that is one thing. And then also, you know, we have to focus on the fact that Lydia may have a bad reputation for because of her mother. Like, you know, she was the product of an affair. She also was, you know, the child of a woman who got burned at the stake for being a spellcaster. So, like, she does not have anything going for her that, like, so many people would be okay with her. But, like, also, you know, the Hobart family sticking up for her, and then also her, you know, having this good reputation of taking care of orphans and stuff like that, I think is really helpful to her kind of reintegrating into society, especially since, you know, her mother died when she was very small. So this had to be like at least 15 years ago. So it's not like there's a ton of, you know, it's not like it's fresh, right? It was a long time ago. And people forget eventually when the next big drama comes around. So that is totally fine. So they're just having the wedding, enjoying themselves, enjoying each other, enjoying their lives. Um, yeah, I feel good about their relationship. We'll kind of see where it goes. I'm kind of thinking, you know, obviously family dynamics are going to start changing because it's not just them and the boys. I am going to roll to see how many children they are going to have. We're going to, you know, fix them on the spreadsheet. Although, again, Family Echo is not available still, which is super annoying. Like, how many hours are you going to be down for? But anyway, so they rolled to have 7 children, so it'll be a lot in that house. The Hobarts are very fertile. So now here in the Phelps household, you can see Melly is now wearing the Puritan clothing, and that is because, you know, especially when she was pregnant and everything, there was a lot of pressure on her to convert. And the reason for that is because they were like, you know, oh, you know, we want our children to be raised Puritan. Like, you moved in here with me, like we agreed to live this lifestyle, and you need to, you know, model that for our children and all this stuff. And so, especially from Muriel, there's been a lot of pressure onto Melly to, you know, at least present in a way that is more socially acceptable to, um, you know, their community. And also, especially since she was having kids and stuff, and now that the children have died, both of them, it's so upsetting. Now that the children have both died, it's like there's this layer of grief where it's like, you know, you need to find some comfort somewhere in the places that Muriel and that Amos find comfort in aren't necessarily the same places as Melly. And, instead of respecting that Melly has a different culture and a different opinion, Muriel is not really interested in that. Muriel wants Amos to kind of bring her and her house up to greater heights. And so Amos can't do that if he doesn't have a wife that, conforms to what society is expecting. And so, when Melly complains to Amos about it, he kind of dismisses her concerns. He's like, I'm the man of the house, I'm the husband, you married me, like you agreed to this. And then also, I think that part of losing the children for Amos has been very difficult because he wants to, use his Puritan values and faith and everything in order to, you know, get over his grief. And he wants, maybe kind of falls more, how sometimes people get a little deeper into, religion or, strict social norms or whatever when something happens. And like maybe that's happening to Amos, is that, he's a little less free thinking because of this tragedy that he's been through. And so, Melly is kind of in a hard spot because she wants to fit in with her family, and she wants to, you know, she doesn't want to rock the boat. And she's also feeling a lot of grief over her children. So it's tough. Now, Hope is officially, kicked out of the Smith household. So she is going to go see her brother, who is like her only family left, her brother. And she's going to go to Nathaniel and basically, tell him what's going on. And she didn't really want to come here. Like, it's really far away and out of their way. And, she'd rather have stayed, with her children and everything. But, Nathaniel, the other Nathaniel, kicked her out. And, everybody told you so, Hope. Everybody told you that he was trash. But her brother Nathaniel is obviously going to be there for her and is like, you can stay as long as you need. Like, I'll try to facilitate your relationship with the boys. Like, we'll figure it out. And, he's there with his wife and his child. And, they're just talking. And Hope, she's feeling angry. She's feeling angry. She's feeling like it's unfair what's happened to her. And she's right. It is unfair. And so, she's lucky that she has her brother to fall back on, even if it's, in a place that she's not familiar with. And it might be a hard transition for her. She is here and she's got to be here. So she is going to do her best to move forward. So there she is. And then we're going to head out again. So next we're going to head to the Dubois household. And, even though Mercy died last year, like, we're still moving on with our lives. It's been a year now. And so Trinity is actually going to go out on a date with Thanks. So if you know, her and Thanks really hit it off, I think 2 years ago now. But her and Thanks really hit it off, and she's from a good family, he's from a good family, and she really likes him. And so we're gonna see how they do together. Now, again, if you keep a very close watch on the spreadsheets and everything, you'll know that Trinity did not roll to marry. So whatever is happening now is unfortunately not going to lead to marriage. But she deserves to have a relationship, and she deserves to have something going on in her life and have some, attention. So she is going to spend some time with Thanks. They're going to get along really well. She's already feeling flirty. She has a big crush on him. She always has. And so the two of them are going to chat away with each other, of course, chaperoned, and enjoy each other's company. And yeah, they really like each other, which is a shame. But they really do like each other. So they are going to do that. And that's really, I don't really have a ton to say about their date with each other, just that they are having a good time and enjoying each other's company, and they deserve to be happy, even though it's probably not going to happen. But that's okay. So there they go, just continuing to flirt. And then actually he does propose to her. He he proposes to her, and so we're going to ask for time to consider. And I think that, obviously Trinity is like, whoa, this is happening fast, but also like I need to consult with my mother, and we need to, it needs to be talked about more. But he has a big crush on her too. It's all going really well, so they're definitely starting to talk about marriage. And then we are going to head over to the Waldrick household. And so, as you remember, Sadie and Elliot married, and poor Sadie is not having a good time. She has not yet gotten pregnant, and I will tell you that is because of Elliot. He's old, and he hasn't had children in a really long time, and he's lived kind of a life that included gambling and anything that comes along with that. So who knows what happened to him. But the two of them have been really not getting along because she's basically his caretaker. Honestly, I want to say that he has like dementia or something, like Alzheimer's or dementia, because he, is definitely, more volatile, more angry. I don't even think he really understands why he wants to try to have kids again, but he's mad that, that they aren't having kids. And I think that, losing Jane and then living his life and all this stuff and becoming really old and all by himself, and his kids are all trash. His kids are all trash and are all like, not getting married and just kind of hanging around and using his money and doing whatever they want. And, Sadie is trying to become friends with Silence, and it's not really working. Silence isn't really interested in chatting with her or becoming friends with her, and Sadie is just feeling really isolated and sad. And honestly, she even kind of wants a baby, because she's like, if I had a baby, like I would have someone in this household who loves me. Like, it's just really sad for poor Sadie to, be here in this situation. And that was kind of the reality for a lot of people, because, you know, a lot of women were just married off to whoever their father chose. And it didn't really matter if they would be treated well or not most of the time. So, if we go stereotypically, I mean, I'm sure that there were people who cared and good people, and, but back then, like, there was a way to things and a way that, men and women interacted and all that. And so, unfortunately, that's part of playing historically, although there are people who act poorly nowadays too. So we can just accept that I like my Sims to be awful, awful people. Anyway, I forgot to get not Janice, I forgot to get Lydia and Obadiah pregnant. So, like I said, I rolled for them, and they have 7 baby tries. And so we're going to get them pregnant, and it's going to be a lot in this household. It's going to be a lot. So, anyway, we are going to do birthdays again. Obadiah the second, Hobart, and Lydia Phelps Lydia now Hobart, becoming young adults. Aldith J. Mohun passing away. Thaddeus and Timothy Smith becoming teenagers, and unfortunately both Phelps twins passing away. So that really stinks. But we are going to continue on in the next one with I don't even know, but we're going to continue on with these stories, but I don't know whose birthday it might be. That's a big question that I don't know the answer to. Let me see. 1660. Oh, 9. Last of the year. Last of the decade next year. Ruth, Silence, Dakota, Abigail, Abraham. Yeah, nobody that we, are worried about dying. So that'll be that. Let's continue on in the next one.